impact or not, but I know that one deck that it's good against is the Miracle deck.
Yeah.
Where you can take out Counterbalance.
Yeah,
and yeah, they can't get countered.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So we've got Matt Hart on Dredge versus Ross Merriam on Maverick.
And they're underway. Ross playing a Windswept Heath in passing, and Matt Hart playing a deck I'm a fan of. I very much enjoy playing Dredge, and hopefully we can see a turn 1 kill here. Yes.
All right, so we got a turn 1 breakthrough.
All right, so breakthrough for 0. In response, Matt has the best hand I've ever seen.
Wow.
So in response, the Lion's Eye Diamond is going to discard his hand primarily, but also make 3 red mana so that Faithless Looting in the graveyard will be flashed back at some point. So right now we're resolving the breakthrough, which is draw 4 cards, aka dredge 4 times, and then discard your hand. You can sometimes keep a card. And then, but for the most time, breakthrough is 0, is for 0.
And that's what it was in this case too.
Right, so you can discard your entire hand.
So here he's dredging. This is on turn 1.
Yeah, this is turn 1, no big deal. Are those alternate art Golgari Thugs? That one's not.
Yeah, that one's a
some
real
of them
one.
were.
And here's a Narcomoeba. It ends up in play. Faithless Looting gonna be flashed back.
Yeah, the red mana
from the Lion's Eye Diamond.
Right. If Ross has a Swords of Pashas, he should cast it. Yeah. I believe it's so often difficult to see what's going on, but I do see at least 2 Cabal Therapies, 1 Icarid.
2 Icarids. There's one next to the Cabal. I mean, next to the Faithless Looting, and then there's one that he just shifted over.
Okay,
there's 2 Icarids.
There's 2 Icarids.
At least. I didn't even get to the bottom row yet. It's a big glare too on his on that part of the screen.
I believe that is a From the Vaults Cephalid Coliseum.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's a regular Cephalid Coliseum there on the bottom left.
Right. The glare.
The one on the foil. That one's from the vaults, I think. So.
So we're dredging.
Dredging a Golgari Grave Troll, and he's dredging off camera. He's dredging onto the bench and out of bounds and into the stands. Really. Trying to keep it on screen.
So we've milled 2 Narcomoebas on our first dredge.
Grave Troll number 2, and there's another Icarid. There's another Faithless Looting. Yeah. How much of the screen can we take up dredging?
Yeah.
And
draw the 2 trolls and discard them. Bring back the 2 Icarids. And let's look for a bridge from Belos. I don't see any.
Yeah, I haven't seen any bridges.
That's probably one of the important ones.
There's a Cabal Therapy.
Cabal Therapy should probably name Scavenging Ooze. Potentially, Talia, but I don't see too much of a reason to name Talia. We have a Green Sun Zenith and a Fauna Shaman, and 3 lands from Ross.
What did he name? I'm gonna find out what exactly he named. It wasn't something in his hand. And Ross Merriam gets another turn. So
usually get a turn or 2. Actually killing somebody on turn 1 is very difficult. But a lot of times you can make an overwhelming board presence.
I mean, it was just a very action-packed turn there for Matt Hart, turn 1.
Yeah, Matt Hart basically naming what he might have a difficulty beating.
Right, and it was Scavenging Ooze that he named.
Yeah.
Wasteland, Fauna Shaman, go, says Ross Merriam.
So Ross will bring back 3 Icarids, I believe.
There's 1. There's 2, and the 3rd one's sitting there waiting.
So Matt has
No, is he not getting the 3rd one?
Yeah, apparently he did not.
Any strategic reason for not getting the 3rd Icarid?
No, not really.
Hits 2 bridges on that dredge.
And
finds the 4th Icarid as well. And
That's got a little interesting. He's cutting light on lands. He only has 12. I prefer a few more, but he has is also 0 dread returns in his deck. So 0 targets. Instead, he's just maxing out on Icarid and Breakthrough. So maxing out on his ability to play a bunch of put a bunch of zombies into play.
Yeah. So there you see Icarid flashing back a Cabal Therapy, gets rid of the Green Sun Zenith.
And you see what Ross had drawn?
Flashback another Cabal Therapy, gets rid of the Thalia, which is what he just drew. More zombies.
2 more zombies, and pass from Matt.
Alright, Ross Merriam, turn 3. Draws a Cavern, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
he's just going to scoop him up.
He's seen enough.
So I think I know what you're playing, and I think we can go to game 2.
So that has like I mean, I get the feeling that Matt's deck, Matt as a player, has played Dredge before, knows what he's doing, knows what he's like. When you pick up a Dredge deck, you don't pick up something without dread returns or with this few lands.
Yeah, you think these are actual decisions, like deliberate decisions to go, I'm cutting on land, I'm cutting on dread returns.
Yes, because Matt also has his missing land in the sideboard. He has 2 Tarnished Citadels and an Undiscovered Paradise.
Okay.
In addition to 3 Ashen Ghoul. Ashen Ghoul is basically another creature that can come into play from the graveyard. It's a 3/1 haste for 4. If there are 3 creature cards above it, you can pay a black mana during your upkeep to bring it into play.
So very much along the lines of cards like Icarid that we've already seen, and just another threat.
Icarid, I choose Nether Shadow. I have some Nether Shadows in my sideboard. For basically what it's for is if somebody's going to try and surgical extraction you, you don't want them to be able to get all of your cards. For example, if somebody was to play 2 surgical extractions against Matt's main deck and almost all Dredge main's deck, they can just get Icarid and then Nakamiba, and then you can't win.
I see, yeah.
So when people actually have surgical extraction in your deck, you want a different...
You want another threat, yeah, just to diversify your threats.
Yeah, different card to bring back.
So if you're the Dredge player,
I'm the Dredge player.
What do you not want to see from Ross's sideboard?
Maverick is actually a tough matchup, just straight up. Simply because of the main deck presence of cards like
Scavenging
Ooze. There's also Knight of the Reliquary, and then Green Suns define them. Knight of the Reliquary can also get Bajuka Bog, at least post sideboard.
One of those is in the board for Ross, no main deck, Bajuka Bog.
Right. Also main deck, like there's a couple cards, if you get one of these to slow you down, those type of cards don't end the game. But in addition to everything else Maverick can do, they can do like some stuff like they can swords one of your guys. They can get some counters on Umezawa's Jite. One card that's actually not scary that a lot of people think is scary is Gaddock. It doesn't actually shut all that much down.
Sure, it shuts down like Dread Return, right? Right,
it shuts down Dread Return, which Matt doesn't even play.
Right, but Ross doesn't know that necessarily.
Right,
he did see about 60% of Matt's
Ross will
deck.
keep in Gaddock, I would imagine. However, Gaddock also shuts down Breakthrough, but usually Breakthrough has been cast by the time Gaddock gets played.
Sure, okay.
In terms of other sideboard cards, like the Path to Exile gives them extra Swords of Plowshares. So if you get like a poor Dredge or slower Dredge, maybe they only can bring in 1 or 2 creatures, and Path and Swords can buy you like a couple turns to get the rest of your stuff.
Right on.
The crop rotation is relatively dangerous. It can get
just because of Bajuka Bog, right?
And there's a copy of Fairy Macabre, which is not for this matchup, but is also useful. Basically what you're looking for when you're playing against Dredge, you're looking for anything that's useful. Like more than half the time.
Sure.
So
if you're Matt Hart, would you just go with the Ashen Ghouls? You go with Ancient Grudge?
I actually wouldn't go with the Ashen Ghouls. Ross is not the type of Maverick is not the type of deck to play Surgical Extraction.
Right.
So you just want basically your good cards. They also play Wasteland. They could Wasteland you off the appropriate mana because it costs you a mana to bring back Ashen Ghoul. If I'm Matt, I actually just shuffle up the 60 and I do not sideboard.
Wow, nice. Okay.
Because Nature's Claim is that not a card that beats Maverick's Brand of Hate.
Sure.
Maverick's
okay.
Brand of Hate, and this is like very typical of Maverick in Legacy. Maverick's Brand of Hate is like slower, but like fits in with what their deck's doing a lot
it's
better.
creature based or land based in a lot of ways, and you creatures getting
better,
lands. You get Bajuka Bog. You get
it's Green Sun,
Thalia,
Green Sun Zenith, and neither Reliquary based Hate.
Right. You have Scavenging Ooze. You know, it's like
Right.
hate on a creature. But yeah, different.
So it's like
that,
slower but easier to find. There's a ton of copies. If I'm Matt, I mulligan to a turn 1 or 2 kill.
And as you suspected, Matt Hart seems to be an experienced dredge player, and he looks like he's mulliganing here.
A short discussion with the judge as he was mulliganing. Not sure what it was about, but Ross is keeping his hand. Matt's going to 6. Yeah, one thing that won't do it in the Maverick matchup is slow dredging or grinding somebody out. I actually don't even like Icarids all that much in the matchup, simply because you have to wait a full turn, and a full turn might be too much. And to further that, as a dredge player, Dread Return's actually one of the better cards. Even if I'm not getting anything good back. I don't necessarily need a target, but I need a way to sacrifice all of my creatures.
Just for bridge, just to get
10 to 12 zombies,
right.
Which is basically what you need. I've definitely lost making 8 zombies before on turn 2. Just a simple scavenging use, like gains them enough life and eats a guy a turn.
Right.
And add a second creature and they eat 2 guys a turn, and
yeah, it just gets out of reach.
Right.
So I know way back in Cincinnati, and I don't mean last week Cincinnati, I mean in February in Cincinnati, right after Dark Ascension was legal, you brought Dredge to SCG Cincinnati.
I did.
With Faithless Looting.
Right.
And you won that, did you?
I did.
That was one you won, and that was the first. I don't think it was the first.
It was during Pro Tour Dark Ascension.
Yes, it was during Pro Tour Dark Ascension.
So it was
that the
literally
first legal
it might have been,
weekend?
yeah.
Either way,
it was the second. It was the second.
That makes more sense. So either way, you.
I did not. I do remember not having a deck list to work off of.
Yeah.
Because previously I did not play Lion's Eye Diamond in my dredge decks. But Faithless Looting just makes it so powerful.
That's where I was going. Like, is Faithless Looting now a staple of Dredge, do you think?
Faithless
you feel
Looting,
like
absolutely
it goes
is,
in Dredge, like Barbaric Grape Troll, and you know what I mean? Like, it's a Narcomoeba, you just have it goes in the deck. You don't not play it.
Right. I was actually considering it required a little bit of difference thing, but Is It Charm might be a card that could be.
We'll talk about that
2 mana is a lot.
A few minutes, yeah.
There's 0 2-mana cards in the deck as presently constructed.
So Ross had a turn 1 Forest into Green Sun Zenith for Dryad Arbor. Matt Hart's turn 1 is Gemstone Mine and
Lion's Eye Diamond.
Lion's Eye Diamond.
And a pass. I don't like Matt's chances anymore.
No. He did seem to think more about his hand. Like it was almost like he was considering mulliganing, but he kept. At least that's what that's the impression I got. I could be wrong. So Knight of the Reliquary on turn 2 for Ross Merriam.
So he has everything. He needed a card drawing spell. He needed a looting effect.
And there's another mine. Mine, is it Gemstone Mine or Cavern? I get the name.
Gemstone Mine.
Mine, okay. I was right then. Okay. Cavern is the one that you can, like, Unlucky Man's Paradise or whatever, right? You pitch in at the beginning of the game or something.
Fantastic name for it, by the way.
Yeah, Unlucky Man's Paradise. That one. Yeah.
So, if Ross plays this as well, he should have the game wrapped up. At any time, Knight of the Reliquary can get Bajuka Bog, and by definition, the Lion's Eye Diamond forces Matt to discard everything he has. Usually a Bajuka Bog might not be game over, but you'd want to. One of the best cards for beating hate like Bajuka Bog is Putrid, or even just having extra cards in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
But with Lion's Eye Diamond, there's no way you can have extra cards in reserve.
Yeah, just the card itself requires you to discard your hand.
That was an aggressive tactic from Ross. I'm not sure I like it. He had both a Scrib Ranger and a Night of the Reliquary activation, and he just went to play a second Knight, taking his defenses down. But all Matt can do to capitalize is cast a 1/2 flyer with fake Death Touch, basically.
Fake Death Touch? It's like it goes to the graveyard and comes back. Like, no, you didn't die. Just kidding.
It's triggered Death Touch.
Path to Exile on the Imp from Ross Merriam, and
I want to play an island in my dredge deck so bad. Just to get all the people that side in Path to Exile.
Just to get thanks.
Yeah.
Just board it in. So I thought he was attacking with the Knights, but no, he was just going ahead and getting 2 Wastelands off of those Knights, and he's going to wreck Matt Hart's board with both Wastelands, going ahead and destroys both Gemstone Mines.
I would have much rather preferred Ross to keep open the possibility of Bojuka Bog at minimum, and at most play a Scrib Ranger.
Well, he does now have Scavenging Ooze on the board. It's not looking good for Matt Hart.
Yeah, I mean, it's conceivable that Matt Hart just dredges his whole deck on this turn. He's obviously missing a card, but like a breakthrough would actually let Matt Hart dredge the majority of his deck right now.
Yeah, we saw what it did on turn 1 last game.
Exactly. You can go from 0 to Dredgefinity very quickly. I want to know where that thug is from.
Yeah, look, it might be
awesome.
Izzet versus Golgari. Is that what it is? It probably is.
That makes
it's got
sense.
the Golgari symbol on it.
I
it's
want
alternate art foil, I think. You know what I was impressed with was the Izzet versus Golgari brainstorms.
Okay.
You see those?
Yeah.
I bought a couple of them just because I really like the artwork. Very cool looking brainstorm.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus 6 on the Knights, so it makes them 8/8s, and yeah.
Matt down to 3.
He's got to go to Dredgefinity this turn. There we go.
Faithless Looting. It's going to do it without any faith, but we're going to see what happens. Draws 2 cards, discards 2 Grave Trolls.
I crack the Lion's Eye Diamond in response there.
Yeah.
If only to get 4 dredges.
There's the Lion's Eye Diamond being cracked. Not in response,
yeah,
but...
he could have also played the Putrid that he drew.
And we're going to dredge the Grave Trolls, and looks like he's hit some Grave Trolls. And an Icarid and a Narcomoeba.
Yeah,
Going to dredge the other.
These 6 have got to be really, really good.
And doesn't look great.
It does not appear to be any good.
Narcomoeba comes in. He's looking, is there anything I can do? Yeah. I'm not seeing anything. We're going to game 3. Ross Merriam takes game 2 over Matt Hart here in round 4 of the StarCityGames.com Legacy Open Series here in Providence. And
I can never see a dredge match anywhere without thinking about probably the most difficult opponent to play on the Open Series or the Invitational, and that is David Thomas playing dredge.
Yeah.
David Thomas is a fantastic dredge player, and there's nothing scarier than a competent dredge opponent. There's a lot of players that think you can pick up dredge, and it's like it does itself. You just flip. It's easy. You just flip your graveyard into your your library into your graveyard.
It's actually really complicated.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of decisions and a lot of triggers that you need to make sure you notice too. Like
there's also like a lot of like sequencing things on like what you can play against, what you can afford to play around, and what you can't afford to play around.
Mm-hmm.
And like it goes beyond the scope of a normal Magic deck. A lot of people say dredge is not Magic.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's Magic at its finest. Magic is a game with rules, but rules that are made to be, skirted and broken and things like that. The cards overrule the actual rules of Magic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like that either when people say dredge isn't Magic. It's like, turn the cards over. What does it say on the back?
Yeah.
That is Magic. They were printed in Magic sets. These are mechanics from a Magic set, and yes, they work together in a way that the synergy, it plays a different kind of game than your typical, Magic deck, but I don't really feel like that makes it not Magic. It just makes it different Magic,
Yeah, like, the rules of Magic say you can only draw 1 card a turn. Well, Howling Mine says you draw 2 cards a turn.
Yeah,
now.
like, so it's not Magic.
That's not Magic.
Howling Mine's not
Howling
Magic.
Mine's not Magic.
Yep. So.
And sometimes instead of drawing, you can replace your draw with milling your entire graveyard. If you're lucky.
Yeah.
So, I actually like Matt's keeping game too. There's a couple lands, Lion's Eye Diamond and Dredgers.
Mm-hmm.
Any draw spell means that Matt is likely to be able to dredge at least 4 times.
And he just got kind of unlucky there?
He just didn't draw in time.
Hit
the one thing I would have liked to see him do is crack the LED in response to his Faithless Looting. I have a feeling he was trying to just go for gold and draw a breakthrough off one of his 2 draws. But
yeah, here's a good question from Trevor Ramlau on Twitter. He says, what do you think is the best sideboard card in general against Dredge?
The best sideboard card against Dredge, not close, is Leyline of the Void.
Okay.
Almost impossible for a Dredge deck to beat Leyline of the Void.
And what do you think of Rest in Peace? So if you have access to white mana, do you play Rest in Peace?
Rest in Peace is a
Dredge
Leyline of the Void that costs
2 mana and doesn't
instead of 0.
Instead of 0, or instead of 4, right? Because it's a matter.
Instead of 0.
Do you feel like there's no, like, if you don't have the ley line,
you can die before Rest in Peace.
Right, but I'm saying if you don't have the ley line, you know what I mean? It costs 4.
Right.
So at that point, you'd rather have the Rest in Peace.
Cards against Dredge need to cost 0 or 1 mana.
Okay, interesting. So you don't feel like Rest in Peace is really that effective against Dredge?
I mean, it's effective if they haven't done what they need to do.
Okay.
If their deck has failed, but it's not good against a good Dredge draw.
It's basically like it's good against a Dredge deck that's stumbling.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So what else?
It's like Stone Rain against a Mana Screwed opponent. Really good.
Yeah, that makes sense. What would you? So what would you say? Okay, so Leyline.
So Leyline and Grafdigger's Cage are the 2 best.
Okay.
Against Dredge specifically. However, Legacy is a format where you can't sideboard against one deck specifically.
Grafdigger's Cage pretty good against Maverick as well. So there's.
Yeah, so like that's why you would play Grafdigger's Cage over a Reason to. Grafdigger's Cage also like excellent against like say Reanimator.
Sure. Yeah.
It's also a much better. Leyline is much better in non-brainstorm decks. When you have Leyline in your non-brainstorm deck and you draw it, it's like, and you also can't brainstorm into a Leyline.
Right.
But you can,
and you can't put it back if you draw it later. You're like the second.
Well, you don't. If you draw your sideboard card, you don't want to put it back.
Sure, but I guess if it's a Leyline and you don't want to pay 4 for it, or you've already got one in play.
But like if you brainstorm into a Grafdigger's Cage, you'll keep it.
Sure.
So that's why if you have card drawing in your deck, you might want to go to Surgical Extractions, good against like Reanimator, Life from the Limb type stuff. Some combo decks. Looks like we have a nice fun game. We're gonna start with 10 cards.
Yeah, go to Paris
total.
together, I think. Yeah.
This is the second time they've already been.
Yeah.
They liked it so much they want to go back.
They liked Paris so much they're going back. I've been to Paris twice.
I have not.
I liked it a lot. I'd go back. Preferably not when I'm playing Magic, like these guys are doing. I'd rather go to Paris. Actually, Paris.
Right, actual Paris in France. And
yeah, not take a Paris mulligan. So. See, Ruben Bressler doing a little deck check. Can't quite see what the deck is that's being featured over there. He's recording it. We don't know. You guys will find out in a bit. All these guys are resolving their mulligans. I'm just kind of taking a peek around, see what's going on, and there's a Ruben Bressler deck tech being recorded. So pretty cool.
The deck tech's here live and that are recorded, you know, live here, always get quite the audience.
Yeah, they do. Somebody's doing a deck tech, people start crowding around.
So it was weird. I think I did when the sideboard was unveiled. I was playing in St. Louis, and it was just like a very weird thing to see, you know, deck techs have an audience,
right?
A live audience. No need for a laugh track.
Yeah, because you actually get the laughter, or if there's something funny. Usually, having people laugh at your deck isn't great, but
I love when people laugh at my deck.
And I'm playing. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some dumb card. Force of Nature.
Yeah.
It's like Force of Will. No, Force of Nature. In Legacy. Are you reanimating? Nope. Casting it.
All right, so we
that actually reanimating
Gemstone Mine. Going to play Careful Study.
All right, Matt Hart, turn 1, Careful Study, and let's see what he can get going.
Looks like we have a Faithless Looting and discarded
Grave Troll and
Putrid Imp.
Yeah, so
if you're discarding a spell that doesn't want to go to the graveyard,
that's bad.
No, that's really good actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that means Matt's hand is loaded.
Oh, I'm saying like, I thought it was good that he's putting those guys in the graveyard, right? He wants to dredge.
He wants to dredge the Putrid Imp, or the Grave Troll, and that's good. But like once you have one dredger, there you go. Like you'll chain. It's very easy to chain into a second one. So
I'm saying like that's exactly what he would want to
yes,
discard.
That's exactly
with
what Matt.
Careful Study.
Well,
okay.
Not exactly, but
pretty close. It's the kind of thing you want. That's what I'm.
If you're forced to discard Putrid Imp, that means your hand's very good.
Okay.
So here comes the second Putrid Imp, and then that's going to discard second Grave Troll, and I believe a copy of Faithless Looting is good. Yeah, and that's Matt's entire hand.
And I think I'll dredge back this Grave Troll. Cabal Therapy, City of Brass, Golgari Thug, Narcomoeba, Gemstone Mine. Man, he hits those Gemstone Mines. There's all 4 of them on the table already. Turn 1. Thug. Lion's Eye Diamond. Breakthrough. Lion's Eye Diamond. Careful Study. Lion's Eye Diamond.
So very poor dredge.
Troll.
He's got 2 creatures in play. He's going to have 1 therapy. Oh, 3 creatures in play. I forgot. Yeah. He's going to have 2 therapies, and each of them is going to make a zombie. Okay, so I believe Ross is asking Matt to back up, maybe for Fairy Macabre shenanigans. So Fairy Macabre has a couple things it can do. It can stop the Narcomoebas from coming into play. Those are triggered abilities. It can also remove the Bridge from Below. Okay, but nothing going on.
So Thalia, Knight of the Reliquary, Wasteland, Misty Rainforest in Ross Merriam's hand, as shown to us by the Cabal Therapy from Matt Hart.
So, I actually think Scavengers was named once again.
Yes, very likely. Or confirmed, actually. And we have another...
And he hits the Talia. He's on a little bit of a clock. He's going to have to slow dredge. And Ross only has 2 turns worth of... or Matt only has 2 turns worth of dredging before Ross can activate a Knight of the Reliquary now. So either Matt needs to hit enough creatures to put into play, or Cabal Therapy to strip the Knight of the Reliquary out of
the
Ross's
second Cabal
hand.
Therapy hit Thalia, and so Matt is left with a board of Putrid Imp, Zombie. Passes back to Ross, and Ross has drawn, I believe, a Path to Exile.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. So we can't both be wrong, can we?
Nah, impossible.
Let's discuss going over his options. I believe it's just
No, he's gonna
get a
crack a fetch land.
Maybe considering like attacking or something, but I don't think attacking is what he wants to do in this situation.
And he's basically just
Yeah, Matt does not have an Icarid, I believe.
I haven't seen Icarid.
Yeah, his dredge was pretty light on cards you actually want in your graveyard.
Yeah.
One thing he could do is dredge a Golgari Thug and cast it, but then again, that's one of my favorite things to do in the whole deck is dredge Golgari Thug, cast it, sacrifice it, put a Narc Amoeba back on top of my library.
So Path takes out the Imp. Dredge Grave Troll, says Matt Hart. Hits a Breakthrough, an Icarid, an Imp, Stinkweed Imp, I think. City of Brass, Stinkweed Imp. I'm sorry, that's not Breakthrough, that's a Grave Troll. Looked like a Breakthrough for a second. At some strange angle.
So, one thing I found is, maybe not in this particular list, but once you have 2 lands in play, it can often be beneficial to draw a card, hoping to hit either. So if Matt draws a card, well over half of his deck is very good to draw into. He has any of his lands, Faithless Looting, Breakthrough, Careful Study, and Lion's Eye Diamond, all allow him to dredge multiple cards. And so, like, when this one 6 is probably not going to do it, I might actually go for more and draw a card and hope to draw something.
Yeah,
good.
That makes sense. So we're going to go with.
This is not going to.
Ross Merriam plays that Knight of the Reliquary we saw in his hand. Matt now dredging for his turn is dredging back a Grave Troll, hits Icarid, Colosseum, Imp.
Yeah,
Again, not great.
None of these cards are actually going to be productive. Or, I mean, it's very unlikely that you get something that can be a Bojuka Bog at this point. I would have also attacked with the Icarid. Be more than happy to trade off the Reliquary. And Matt has to know that, given his other, like, the other information that he has to know that Knight of the Reliquary means, out of Maverick, means
Bojuka Bog, right. And I think that's kind of...
At least post-sideboard.
So, end of turn, sacrifice the Icarid, gets another zombie to replace the one that died.
Now. There's not much use in waiting.
There's the second of 2 wastelands, and he's doing something here. 4 mana.
Green Sun Zenith, I believe.
That makes sense. Oh, maybe he's changed his mind here. He keeps changing his mind.
I believe it's going to be a Green Sun Zenith for 2, getting Scavengers, and then an activation of Knight of the Reliquary, getting Bojuka Bog. So he's going to get both of his hate cards now that Matt has gone to like turn 4. Mm-hmm. Turn 4 is far too many turns to give a Maverick deck.
Yeah. And it's exactly what he does. Green Sun Zenith for Scavenging Ooze. Knight activated, sacrificing Savannah. Here comes a Bojuka Bog. Remove the graveyards. Everything goes by. Clean things up in here. That's a nice sweeper. Board sweeper against Dredge, Bojuka Bog.
It's basically Wrath of God. That's what I equate cards like Bojuka Bog. Tomon's Crypt is instant speed Wrath of God. But even then, it's not.
Wow. So Matt draws for the turn because he doesn't have anything to dredge, and he draws Golgari Grave Troll, 2 of which are in his hand. He just drew the 4th because there's one in his exiled zone there. So not looking great for Matt, but Ross still has to beat him. And to start with, Ross is going to wasteland away both of Matt's lands, leaving Matt with just 2 zombies, both untapped. And Ross is starting to grow the Scavenging Ooze by letting it eat the Thalia out of his own graveyard. Knight of the Reliquary activated, sacrificing Dryad Arbor, gets a Misty Rainforest, that's cracked, finds a Savannah, and Ross Merriam taps his Savannah and his Bojuka Bog to play another Thalia.
Yeah.
I mean, is this over?
Oh yeah, it is.
Long over?
Against Zero Lands is game over against everybody.
Those gemstone mines are not in play. Yeah. So Matt Hart extends the hand. Ross Merriam takes the match 2-1 with 15 minutes to spare here in round 4 of the StarCityGames.com Legacy Open in Providence. So Dredge looked real good game 1. Not as great games 2 or 3. This is the description of Dredge. That one, it's not Magic. That's one description. That's one description you hear. Another one is it's the best game 1 deck.
Yes.
And it's not great game 2. You know, the other thing you always hear, like, if you want to beat Dredge, you can. The cards are there to do it.
Right.
You can make it so you can not lose to Dredge. It's just a matter of you choosing to fill up your sideboard or your main deck slots even with cards that are gonna be good against Dredge.
Yeah, Wes has a few cards that are in his main deck.
That are just naturally good, right? Just a natural.
Awesome cards in general. Very good against Dredge in particular.